From August 1st to 7th is observed as World Breastfeeding Week. Central Tibetan Administration's Health Department marked the week through screening of awareness videos on the theme breastfeeding. To know more about this initiative, let's speak to CTA's Health Department's Ngawang Tenzin. Tashdile Ngawang Tenzin la and welcome to our show. Ngawang la, what is the significance of observing the entire week from August 1st to 7th as World Breastfeeding Week? Why is it important?
The World Breastfeeding Week was first celebrated in 1992 to create more awareness on breastfeeding and to encourage support for breastfeeding mothers everywhere. According to a UNICEF report of 2019, 60% of world's total infants are missing out on exclusive breastfeeding.
What do you mean by exclusive breastfeeding?
It means giving only mother's milk to a child till he or she is 6 months old. That means you cannot feed the child honey or water or substitutes.
We know that CTA's Health Department has taken the initiative in organizing video competition on this theme to create awareness on breastfeeding. How do you think that through making videos will create awareness on breastfeeding amongst the Tibetan community?
The kind of response that we received from the videos that we created, we can say that it has actually helped in creating more awareness on breastfeeding. Initially, when Yang Tso proposed this idea, we were not expecting this kind of response. Earlier, before COVID-19 happened, we used to create awareness through our settlement nurses at the settlement level through community gatherings. But since due to COVID-19, we were not able to gather, and this compelled us to explore other platforms of creating awareness. The kind of the participation that we saw, it definitely shows that this kind of event and using this kind of platform helps us in creating more awareness, especially in places where we don't have nurses, and especially among younger generation who don't prefer to participate in social gatherings. So they are usually available on social medias, and this kind of video has definitely helped in creating more awareness.
How many participants did you have for making the video?
We received 16 participants.
Okay, so there are winners like first, second and third.
Yes, and we also gave 3 consolation prizes to 3 different participants.
Okay, Ngawang la, let's take a look at one of the videos.
lo takba chinda gibi se chigme se dyumba to ani manzu zamning nusu tusi di ani sunzi shugyo re ale ani ajarang la pumuni ra pumuni ye ko de mani ye ale ani ajarang pumu chinju ga de yo ajarang gi pula homa dawa haziring thambate na ngada dawa lo Niste, Jidani, Yungshila, Dawat, Chutaware, and Ishula, Dawushula, Oma Martina, Pugulati, Kalachore, Kalajaputi, Zambada, Fujite, and Ishinduri, this Kamapujaware. Yeah. Sujinaja. That's it. Chaya Pusuruna. That's it. Yeah. Acha Kisi, Amaki, Pugula, Ani Homadi. dawa thuk le ma cha china amala phindo khare na
amala phindo khare la na ama pugulo ma gyuru ma tena o ma tanga da ni na tene na za da ni na za shimba ame ke ko pa na na za shimba yuye ge ni ku ga ma nga yores
tuguta ama parula puge sawade ya woyong gorda 가시기 양데 아메 엄마 주고 맞다 다와 숨시 근데 제 총장한테 주게 아니 부대들 이따야라 인도 허브제 수부고 차고 지시라요 말다 야무아버라고지 인도 허브라지 용어 바래 야 아메 엄마 가요 말다 딜레자 체치요 말다.
Okay, Ngawang la, what is the level of awareness amongst the Tibetan community on the importance of breastfeeding? Why and how is it considered a challenge?
We don't have a research as such on the level of awareness that people have on breastfeeding, but I would like to talk more about the challenges. Because breastfeeding is considered as a normal process of a mother's life, there is this expectation that mothers are expected to know how to breastfeed their child, and there are lots of misconceptions about this kind of attitude that exists in our community. Speaking from my own personal experience, when I first became a mother, actually I studied BSc nursing, but when I became a mother, I did not expect the kind of challenges that I faced when I became a mother, even in my dreams, you know. But luckily I had a very supportive husband, but I was very angry, confused, and I was wondering like what I am actually doing wrong and why. So I had lots of confusions. So think about all those mothers who don't have any kind of knowledge, medical knowledge, and especially support while breastfeeding or after their delivery. So definitely there exists a challenge because of this kind of attitude in our community, that mothers are expected to know everything about childbirth, about breastfeeding. And when we talk about awareness, it came to our knowledge that generally there's a warm attitude towards breastfeeding. You know, mothers are encouraged to breastfeed their child. But when we talk about exclusive breastfeeding, then there's a huge gap. Most of people know, like even before seeing my interview, that even in their settlements, before a baby becomes 6 months old, their families and the mothers, they are compelled to feed their child with tsamba, you know, which is very famous in our community.
In fact, the Tibetan community, they think that feeding tsampa is actually benefiting the baby when they are very young. Is that true? Or they just have to be only fed the mother's milk?
As I mentioned before, studies have proven that if you feed substitute food to children before they are 6 months old, it actually harms them, you know, like because a child's gut is not ready to digest this kind of food before they are 6 months old. But since this kind of, stigma, belief exists that, because when a child cries, the grandmother usually say the child must be hungry and your breast milk might not be enough, so you have to feed them tsamba. So mothers face this kind of pressure and they are compelled to feed their child like substitute food along with their breast milk. So this kind of gap exists in our settlements. And the third point I would raise when we talk about settlement is these days lots of young mothers, due to lack of knowledge or due to commercial promotions, many of them go through cesarean section for delivery. And since this is a major surgery, many of them are already going through lots of issues, and they are not able to breastfeed their child. So they have to start with formulas. And this might be one of the reasons why we have lots of reports coming out from settlement that more and more young mothers are not exclusively breastfeeding their child.
And also, I believe that there is nothing to shy about when you're breastfeeding your child, right? That is just a belief that everybody has. So, do you have anything to tell the audience and educate them on the importance of breastfeeding?
Breastfeeding is something that cannot be, genetically engineered from any other way. It is the best food for baby in a way because it promotes baby's health through immunity development, and child has all the nutrients that it needs through the breast milk. And it also helps in creating bond between the mother and child. And the mother also benefits a lot through breastfeeding. It helps her in recovering from the postpartum period. Like it helps her in making the uterus go back to the pre-pregnancy stage quicker than others who do not breastfeed their child. And also in the long run, studies have shown that it protects the mother from breast cancer and other ovarian cancers and other diseases.
Ngawang, during this phase of COVID-19 crisis, there is a lot of confusion amongst the mothers who are tested COVID-19 positive. They think that they might transmit the virus to their baby. So can you tell us a little bit about this?
From the limited studies that have been done on this topic, it has been shown that the benefit of giving breast milk is actually more than the harmful detrimental effect that comes with by not giving breast feed to the child. So that means a COVID positive mother can still breastfeed her child, but definitely she has to follow
all the precautionary measures.
Yes, like wear mask and wash hand before feeding her child, and she has to be careful about not like exposing her droplets to the child, but she can still breastfeed her child. And since, as I mentioned before, breast milk has lots of antibodies that helps the child to fight off infection, this is more useful to the child by breastfeeding.
So Ngawang, is there anything you want to add?
In the end, I would like to mention one thing, because when we talk about breastfeeding, the importance of breastfeeding and how it helps a mother in creating a special bond with her child. I'm sure there are lots of mothers who are not able to breastfeed their child, lots of different issues, whether it's medical issues or anything, So I want to tell them that even for mothers who cannot breastfeed their child, this doesn't make you less of a mother. There are different ways through which you can bond with your babies. The most important thing for us is to remember that mothers need support, and especially from her spouse, family, and colleagues. And I would like to request audience to check our Department of Health's YouTube and Facebook, where we have uploaded more information on benefits of breastfeeding and the challenges of breastfeeding. Thank you, Sakina, for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ngawang, for this informative message on breastfeeding. Thank you for speaking to Tibet TV.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next episode of In Conversation with Batt TV.